Don't know. They are back again. Big up Wagwan, where you deal with, where you pray, where you depend up top blessings. You see me? And honestly, I wish it was on a more positive note, but it's on the sadder side, honestly. Little bit heartbroken, kinda wanna cry low key. But as you can see in the title, Gundogan leaves Manchester City as a legend, an absolute legend, non-debatable by me. I don't want to hear it from no rival fans, no City fans either. He will be a legend and he will forever be remembered in Manchester City history. Gundogan leaves Manchester City as a five-time Premier League winner, a one-time Champions League winner, a four-time League Cup winner, and two-time FA Cup winner and two-time Community Shield winner. Now, I know that some people don't rate the Community Shield and the Carabao Cup, so divvy up that however you will, but that is all the honors he has won as a Manchester City player. He signed in 2016, which means his reign ran for 7 years, 7 years at the club, just as long as Pep Guardiola has been at the club. And obvious that is a bit obvious for those who would know that he was Manchester City's first ever signing under Pep Guardiola. Pep definitely wanted him to start his era because as he believed that he was a player that perfectly represented what he wanted to bring to Manchester City. Now, Gundogan since then has always been a key cog in the machine of what is Manchester City, and he has been a mainstay in the team throughout that time. And he has gone on to feature for the Blues 304 times across all competitions and has scored 60 goals and provided 40 assists, which means that he has, on average, around a goal or assist every 3 games, which is a really good record for a midfielder, if you ask me. Um, I remember in his second season in 17-18. I don't remember too much from his first season, to be honest, or Manchester City's first season. I didn't have the opportunity to watch the majority of our games at that point in time. But in his second season in 17-18, I do remember him playing a large portion of the season as a CDM. And, he's a central midfielder. He's really good going forward as seen by his stats, 1 in 3. He was playing as a CDM and he led us to go on in that year to hit 100 points, which for me that is an accomplishment that is on the same level as the Invincibles team. Because if you ask any Arsenal fan, why is the Invincibles so respected amongst the Arsenal community? It's because no team has ever repeated that. No one has ever done it before them. No one has been able to do it since. And that is something I can say about our 100 points record. No, people will come with the foolishness about, oh, but Liverpool got 99 points. Well, the last time I checked, 99 points, 99 is not the same amount as 100. And I do believe that same Liverpool team only lost one game that season. So by that logic, if people are saying 99 is basically as impressive as 100 points, then that season where they only lost one game is basically as impressive as Invincibles then. Because it's basically the same thing. 1 point, one loss. I know you lose more points for losing one game, but the fact of the matter is no one has ever repeated 100 points before. So, yeah, hold that for those who don't respect the Centurions team. But Ilkay Gundogan, I call him Silkai Ilkay, you know. His passing, his reading of the game, I always believed was elite. He brought that control to the team always from day one, and I saw why Pep liked him as a player. Um, he has always been a tidy player, very consistent player. You know what you're getting from Gundogan when he steps onto the field. And the funny thing is that season after, we had our Centurion season, we had our formidable season. After that, he played a key role in both teams. But in the third season, when it was 1920. We lost the league that season actually after going back to back. Liverpool won the league. We had a terrible season that year. We had just lost company, and we had, our defense was a shambles. We had Fernandinho playing back there, in which I would not have preferred to have Fernandinho there in his older age, and Rodri, who had been a new signing into the club, had to feature in CDM for majority of the games, or even featuring in centre back, because Fernandinho would also get injured throughout that season as well, and Laporte had his season long injury, so he was not even an option. And I remember watching Gundogan and John Stones, both of these players, and I will die on the hill that I had a John Stones and Gundogan agenda in that year. I think Gundogan, that was his worst season in a Manchester City shirt. I'm sure he'll look back and say that it was his worst season as well. But watching him that season, he, in my opinion, he barely did anything outside of what I always praise him for, which is his controlling games and his passing and all that. I don't think he was controlling games in that season, but his passing was still elite. He was still always there as an option to receive the ball. His pass accuracy would be amazing still. But outside of that, I didn't see him doing anything. He was abysmal defensively. He wasn't contributing anything going forward. I think for the whole season, he had 1 goal and 2 assists. And I was pushing that Gundogan agenda so hard, man. And that is still appreciating what he did in the years before that. But in that season, man, him and John Stones, I was like, you guys are not cutting the mustard. And I need to see improved performances next season. John Stone's a different story, but it's not John Stones. They were talking about Gundogan, and when we do have this conversation about John Stones, I will remember this, because I'm not going to hide behind my agenda and say, "Oh, it never happened." I'm an honest guy. I'll tell you. For that year, I did not want to see Gundogan on the pitch. I wanted to see any other option next to. I wanted to see preferably David Silva and KDB for the whole year. I did not want to see Gundogan on that pitch. Trust me. But the next season after that, he definitely shut me up, and he came back with a point to prove. In that year, that was, I don't know, in that 1920 year, excuse me, in that 1920 year, Aguero's injuries had started to intensify, and he was becoming less and less available as the seasons went on. However, that didn't matter, because, well, it didn't it didn't show in that next season, because Gundogan stepped up. He definitely stepped up in that year. He and KDB and even Foden at times were playing in that false nine role. And I do remember, I think as soon as it hit January, Gundogan was just on a mad scoring spree. He went on to finish that season with 13 Premier League goals and 3 assists. And across all competitions, he had 17 Premier League goals and 5 assists. And if you compare that to the season before, that is a drastic change. And he had already improved his performances up until January from the season before. But when it hit January, Silkai Ilkai became a scoring machine, and he earned the name Mr. Whippy, the General Mr. Whippy. I don't know. And I had to then swallow my agenda. I don't know why I need some water or something. I had to then swallow my agenda, because he definitely made the turnaround that I wanted to see. So definitely big up Ilkay Gundogan for that. I really don't think we would have won that league season without him. So I much appreciate all your contributions in that season. And honorable, not honorable mention, but like definite shout out to that game against Spurs where Davidson Sanchez at eat grass. Like, I think him received the ball from Ederson over the top, and he controlled it just outside the box. 1v1 with Davinson Sanchez, broke him up, shift him drop a ground, grass in his mouth, and him just put the ball past Lloris, and it was just magnificent. Scored a brace in that game. I think we went on to win 3-0. I don't think they scored it. If not 3-0, then 3-1. But he had a brace in that game, and I think he also had a brace against Liverpool that season as well. That was a COVID season, by the way. I think he had a brace against Liverpool as well, where he had missed a penalty and then came back with two goals. That was the one where Foden scored a rocket from the right side, and Alisson keep on, give her the ball and give her the ball like two or three times, and two of them lead to goal scoring. Two of them led to goals being scored on him. So I don't want to hear anybody with them amnesia when time is time for talk Alisson and Ederson. Distribution wise, don't compare Alisson to Ederson. Just like how I'm not compare Ederson to Alisson with shot stopping. So let's just put that out there. But yeah, he had some great performances in that season, is what I'm trying to say. Then we look at the next season. Well, obviously, that 20/21 season was the start of our three-peat. And the next season after that, in 21/22, was, one moment alone, I'm going to talk about. I'm sure you know I'm going to talk about, but against Aston Villa. 2-0 down. I think at halftime we were 2-0 down. I'm not entirely sure, don't quote me on that, but I definitely know that at 65 minutes in, we were 2-0 down. And then you look around, Pep made some substitutions, and we were wondering, how are we going to go back into this game? My phone was on Do Not Disturb. I didn't want to hear from nobody. I was just there with my hands like this, and I was just praying and watching, like, please, God, please just make some way, somehow we'll come out of this with a win. I don't think a draw will be enough. At the time, Liverpool were drawing with Wolves, and I was keeping an eye on their game as well. I couldn't watch it, but I was definitely keeping an eye on it. And I was like, nah, I don't want to leave it to a draw and then hope that Liverpool don't do it. Because with Manchester City, when our fate is in our hands, we've always been that team to go out there and do what we needed to do. I needed to see that from our team on that day. I remember Sterling got the ball on the right side, cutting in, cutting out, and he went down the line and he just clipped the ball into the box first time. And then right at the back post, Ilkay Gundogan nods the ball past Olsen, I think his name is, for Aston Villa. And I was so happy. I was like, this this might just be the start of it. Maybe we left it too late, but I do know now we can at least get a draw. As much as I would prefer to get the win, I know that we can at least get a draw here and do what we need to do. I mean, and hopefully we get over the line with results elsewhere. I mean, then we went on to see Rodri get the ball from Zinchenko. Zinchenko did a madness. Now I ever forget that. Zinchenko did a madness dribbling into the box from left back, and he pulled the ball out back to Rodri. He side foots it and puts it around Olsen again, 2-2. And this is like 3 minutes, 3 minutes after Gundogan scored the first. And I was just so happy. I'm like, yo, imagine we did not have enough time. Then Gundogan gives us a chance, a little light at the end of the tunnel. And then I'm looking at it thinking, do we have enough time for a comeback here? Raji says yes, because he saves us time to find that last goal in maybe around 15 or a little bit more than 15 minutes remaining in the game. And we are tied 2-2. I'm thinking we need the defense to be solid here. Laporte was playing out of his skin in that second half of the game. I don't think he had started the game. I think we tried to start it without him with Fernandinho. It was his last game for the club, and Laporte had his injury concerns in a couple games before against Wolves. I was worried his foot was broken or he had fractured his knee or something, but he was limping out there as well to get us over the line, and he did because he didn't let anybody past him in that game. And KDB picks up the ball on that right hand side of the midfield, just above the half line. I think he drills the ball, or maybe it was someone else drills the ball into Gabby Jesus, and then Jesus finds. I think it was a 1-2 with KDB, if I'm remembering correctly. Jesus finds KDB again, and he knocks on the ball. I think it was Tyrone Mings who runs out to him to try to get to that ball before him, but KDB was on smoke. He did that title race KDB thing, bent down, time shoesless. So that means me not play now, you see me? And he just puts that ball split through the defense. I don't think he even looked up. I think he looked before he made that move and saw the layout of the field and was like, all right, have it picture perfect, photographic memory. I got this. And he just went through, played that ball through. It beat every single Aston Villa defender. And who was there at the back post? Nobody else but Silkai Ilkai. And he just puts that ball in. It was pandemonium in the Etihad Stadium. All the fans were going crazy. Gundogan, that was the most passion I've ever seen from him in a Manchester City shirt, and I loved every single moment of it. It was a brilliant, brilliant experience. I thank you so much for that moment. I didn't get to see the Aguero moment happen because at that point in time, I was in primary school. I was in class while the game was playing. I had the live score on my phone. I was checking it every minute, like, please, please, somehow. I was such an optimistic kid. I don't know why I thought we were going to win that 93-20 game, but I was just faith. That was just faith. I was just believing that something was going to happen. And that's what brought me through that game against Villa. Silkai Ilkai definitely came up with the goods, and he helped us out. That was one of our most iconic moments in our Premier League history. I think in the Premier League history, honestly, that was a madness that I doubt we will ever see again anytime soon. So Ilkai, man, Ilkai Gundogan. Then obviously this past season for the three-peat, at the end of the season, he came alive again, as he always does. Whenever we need him, he's always there. Ever reliable, clutch player. Um, he had a goal against Liverpool when we beat them 4-1 just after the last international break. Um, Haaland was injured for that game. If anyone remembers, Alvarez started, scored the first goal as equalizer after Salah scored the opener. But Gundogan got a goal in that game. And then, he had two goals against Leeds in that latter running in the last 10 games against Arsenal. And he also had two goals against Everton. One of them was an absolute worldie. Takes it down on his thigh, flicks it off his foot, doesn't even, like, back to the goal, doesn't even look. Pickford had absolutely no chance. But that's what Silkai Ilkai does, man. Can't stop that, man. One of the most clutch players we've had. Definitely one of the most clutch, or if not the most clutch player under Pep. Definitely. For me, anyways. I don't know if anybody else agree with me. Definitely let me know in the comments. By the way, I'm not forget to tell you, don't forget to show some love to the channel, like the video, and as well subscribe to the channel. Show some love to the video, show some love to the channel. You don't know how it go, and I always much appreciate that. Then after the league was wrapped up, Arsenal bought them tours and both across the line are trying to get to the line. And we had the FA Cup final against United. I was there, me and wifey watching the TV. I was trying to break down the whole history of what's going on here. First ever Manchester City versus our Manchester Derby Cup final in history. I think that is across all competitions, if not just the FA Cup, but the first ever Manchester Derby Cup final, regardless. And I was there like, I hope we can get this over the line. They'll be heavily motivated to stop us. We're on a treble hunt. They wanted to defend their pride and glory. But we have our own selfish reasons why that should matter to us and why we need to go on and do what we need to do. The ball gets played back to Ortega. He clips the ball forward. It's I don't remember who it was. I think it was Lindelof jumping up there with KDB. The ball comes off Lindelof's head. It lands right over to Ilkay Gundogan, and after 13 seconds of gameplay, 13 seconds after kickoff, it's Ilkay Gundogan on the right foot. Bam! De Gea, stunned, can't move, completely beaten, and they were up 1-0. I almost missed it. I genuinely almost missed it because I did not expect for that to happen so fast. And I was just like, how is it that this guy just always comes up with the goods when we need him? Always. Anytime we look like we're in a situation and it's like, what's gonna happen now? Gundogan, he's there. He comes up. Might not be with a goal. It might be with an assist. It might be with a pre-assist. But he's there. Trust me, he never shies away from big games, and that's why I'm gonna always respect this man as a legend. Shortly after that, or a while after that, soft handball from Jack Grealish. They gave it, it's the rules, so you do have to say, all right, fair enough. But it was such a soft handball. It didn't even affect the trajectory of the ball. It gave us no form of advantage. But rules are the rules, so there's not too much I can say about that. And the ball is converted by Bruno Fernandes. It's 1-1, and that was in the first half still, and then in the second half, maybe 10 minutes or less than 10 minutes after the second half had been playing on, we have a corner. The ball is played out to Gundogan at the edge of the box. He claps it, slaps into the ground, and it bunks up. It's tricky for De Gea in his defense, but a lot of United fans would disagree and say there is no defending him there, because he does still get a hand on it and it ends up in the back of the net. I was so happy. I've never seen Ederson with flappy hands like that, but people don't rate him and rate the hair. It's a conversation for another day still. But Ilkay Gundogan again, man. It had to be him. It really had to be him. And we went on to finish that game 2-1. Ilkay Gundogan, King Kai Gundogan, I don't know, and he lifts the trophy, our second trophy of the season, and we move on to the Champions League final, in which he then became the first ever Manchester City captain to lift that trophy, and that's in history. That includes the UEFA Cup, and that includes the Champions League era as well. We haven't won the Europa League either. This is our first European trophy, and he is that guy who lifts that trophy. That trophy that brought Manchester City into a whole new conversation as a club. We joined an exclusive group of winners of that cup, and I'm very happy, glad that it was him who had lifted it. Man, Gundogan, thanks for the memories and the moments. Amazing servant and captain for the club, an icon for Manchester City fans, and most definitely one of the best in the league during your tenure. All the best for the rest of your career, and you will always and forever be remembered as a Manchester City legend. I really hope he would have stayed and signed on, continued his journey. But part of me has to also be understanding and think, what, he must be thinking that there isn't much for him to still go on to achieve. You look at careers like a story sometimes, and it has to seem like that happy ending, lifting the treble, basically, and then leaving, going on to a new journey. If he had left after next season and say we win the Premier League and the Carabao Cup, yeah, it's still a good season, but like leaving after that, there's not as much oomph as when you leave after lifting a treble. So I do kind of understand it. I just wish it weren't so, because of the impact that he's had. But like I said, all the best in the rest of your career, my bro, my legend. Not my bro, I don't know you, but I will always remember you. Definitely 100%. And yeah, that's it. Don't forget to show some love to the channel, beat up the like button, drop some likes, and show some love to the video. As such, subscribe to the channel. You don't know, share it around, drop me some comments. And as a matter of fact, let me know in the comment section where you rank Gundogan as a Premier League midfielder. In this Premier League era, where do you rank him? Let me know if you rank him in the top 10, if you rank him in the top 15, 20, top 5, maybe, who knows? Let me know your opinion in the comment section. I definitely know where I rank him, but again, we can leave that for another conversation. We can leave that for another conversation. But yeah, until next time, hope to see you on future videos, and peace out.